Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy, I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies.
Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch. How about we make rock, not war? Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the Heavy Metal Happy Hour with the one and only Fishman.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Get out.
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. Like listening to Toxic Radio?
Goddamn right.
Well, don't forget, this is the 21st century. Join us in the social media world. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pornhub.
Pornhub?
Nah, just kidding. Or am I? Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Welcome to show 50, number 50. I'm your host, Gene Walzak, and to my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Shally.
What's up?
To my left, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Control.
What's going on, everybody?
Listen, we 50 shows in. We 3 shows away from the 1 year mark. 50 shows in. We got a lot to get into this week. We got NFL. We got NCAA. We're finally going to finalize the video games bracket. We got UFC. We got Ryder Cup. There's too much stuff to get into for us not to start immediately. But we got to change the lineup up a little bit. We're going to start with NFL this week. NFL was insane last week. Week 2 of the NFL season. Absolutely absurd. Great games all around. The best game of the week, though. The best game of the week had to be Ravens Chiefs Monday night or Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're watching all those games all day Sunday. Great games. Arizona, Minnesota, phenomenal game. Seattle, Tennessee, phenomenal game. You get to Sunday Night Football, and Lamar Jackson throws a pick six to the Honey Badger very early. And all of a sudden, you're kind of a little worried. Might not be a good game. Kansas City might roll. Lamar Jackson played a special second half of football. Special second half of football. What are you guys' thoughts on the game? I know you're a big Lamar Jackson fan, so I'll start with you this week, Gatrell. Give us your thoughts on the game. Was it a C game for Lamar?
Contrary to unpopular belief, it was definitely not a C game. I mean, Lamar Jackson, just in general, he's a gamer. I mean, whether it's ugly, whether it's, making plays with his arm, making plays with his leg, doesn't matter. He's going to find a way to put his team in the best position to win a football game. That's the one thing I love about Lamar Jackson. Nothing about him is conventional. Obviously, there were some throws that he left out there on the field. But, I mean, even the pick six, Tyrann Mathieu made a hell of a play, and that's a hell of a player. There's a reason why he's one of the best at what he does in the business, and there's a reason why he is the leader and, the soul of that defense. I mean, they brought him to Kansas City for a reason, and he's all-pro pretty much every single year. He's that kind of talent. But just to get back to Lamar, though, and that Ravens team, I don't want to say against all odds because it makes it seem like they're just at this super disadvantage. I like, John Harbaugh. He's a really good coach. But knowing what the Ravens have gone through this at the beginning of this season with J.K. getting hurt, Gus Edwards getting hurt. They still don't have Bateman yet. And against all odds, I mean, the Chiefs are, by everybody's accounts, I would say either the best team or the second best team in football, and they got a tough win on the road. Or a tough win at home, I should say.
I feel like they finally got over the hump with the Kansas City Chiefs. The one thing that stood out to me at the end of that game was, I don't think it will be this way in the playoffs. I don't think it would be this way if they played again. But it was very obvious, like, what team wanted to win that game more. Like, Lamar Jackson and Sammy Watkins running on the field after CEH fumbled, like the game was already over, like, excited. It felt like it was Baltimore's Super Bowl, where to Kansas City it was a road game that they wanted to win, and they didn't come up with the win. What are your thoughts, Shally?
No, I mean, I think if you want to beat Kansas City, I think you have to play them that way. I mean, and, they come to town. It's kind of like how the Patriots used to be. Like, they're going to get everybody's best shot. I think with the past of those two teams playing together, playing against each other so often, I mean, I think it does matter to Baltimore, I think, more than Kansas City. Baltimore knows they can beat them now. I still think Kansas City left that game on the field. I mean, they had the ball at the end. I mean, if Edwards-Helaire doesn't fumble, they probably win that game. So yep. I think they go home, even though it's a loss. I think they go home feeling well, feeling good, knowing, that game pretty much still unfolded the way we wanted it to, regardless of what happened at the end. Playoffs are probably going to have to play him at Arrowhead. It's a totally different beast. So
100%.
The other thing, too, that I just wanted to add is that,
it was Joseph Jeffers.
Cowards don't win football games. And for John Harbaugh to go out there 4th and 1, he if you saw the video, he asked Lamar Jackson, like, hey, you want to go for this? And they went for it. And, that's how you win football games. You make decisions like that. You call up the right play calls, and you go win games. You don't play not to lose. That's a little preview for later, but you play not to lose.
100%. The thing that kind of like, I don't think you could have drug Lamar off the field there. Yeah. And I think the whole world knew Lamar was running that ball.
Yeah.
And they still didn't stop it. Hey, Lamar, we need 1 yard. He's going to get that 1 yard.
I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious that you have, 3 tight ends on the field, and then they're all on line of scrimmage. Like, yeah. you know what's coming, but you still can't stop it.
No, he can go anywhere he wants.
Yep.
You line it up, you block as many people as you can, you have him find a hole and go.
Yep.
I mean, the last thing you want to do there is punt the ball back to Mahomes too. I mean, we've seen that play out enough times. Give 100%. Him the ball back with 30 seconds left, and you think you're fine, and all of a sudden they're 40 yards down the field. So, I mean, it's a big win for Baltimore.
I was excited for Baltimore, and I like Kansas City. I'm a Mahomes guy. Mm-hmm. I still have love for Andy. I like CEH, even though that was the biggest fumble. Like, that was a terrible fumble.
Yeah.
It's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was excited for Baltimore. I like John Harbaugh, Philadelphia guy. Like, he was on our special team staff. I was happy for Baltimore to get that win. What were some of your other favorites from week 2? Any other games that you really liked, enjoyed, want to speak on?
I don't think the Minnesota-Arizona game was the cleanest game by all means, but it was fun to watch. I mean, it was like watching. It was almost like video game football.
It was definitely
it was fun. Yeah, it was. There was blown coverages, bad turnovers, and then great plays, great catches. Kirk Cousins had a great game too. Again, you come down to 35-yard field goal, and the kicker just blocks it dead right. I mean, the best part about that is too, I don't know if you noticed, the home announcer from Minnesota called that game and he thought he made it. Have you heard that yet?
No,
it's hysterical.
No, I didn't.
He's like going nuts. He's like, Minnesota wins, and like you hear like the guy who like does play-by-play with him, like, he missed it. Like, we didn't win. He's like, yes, we did. Like, it's really funny. It's hysterical.
It's funny because me and you had a conversation about that game, and I'm glad you brought that up because I felt like we were on two different ends of the spectrum. I feel like the whole world's a little bit overreacting to Kyler Murray, and I'm a big Kyler fan. You guys have known my history, love Kyler Murray. But, man, he had 2 really bad turnovers that game. And the funny thing is, and the only thing I want to bring out is, if he makes the field goal kick, he's not looked at as an MVP favorite right now.
No.
It sounds crazy, but it completely changed the atmosphere.
If Arizona loses that game, those 2 interceptions get highlighted way more than they did. They got glossed over because they won the game. Again, I mean, I will say this. I think Kyler has definitely taken a step this year. I mean, I told you that on the phone. I think he looks drastically better than he did last year. I don't think it's all him. I do think the offense, I think they've both grown a little bit this year, including Cliff. And the one thing I even said to you is I think they're both really concentrated on like Kyler making the big mistake this year. Like the one play we talked about last week, the audible where he just threw the the fade down the sideline. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like, hey, if you get this blitz, if you get this, throw the ball here. If we don't get it, it's fine. It is what it is. Don't run around and throw an interception, which is what he would have done last year. He's played well. I mean, listen, I mean that team should score. That team should score 25 plus every week with that offense.
I don't know how they don't.
I don't either.
I think Bill's making a lot of good points here, but I think he's beating around the bush. I think he really wanted to say Cliff's been dialing up some gems. That's what he wanted to say. I saw it like brewing in his head.
But see, I know you're trolling. I'm not going to fall for it. I know you're trolling, and I just think that at the end of the day, like the way I look at play calling is it a schemed open play, or is it a play that's made by the quarterback? And that ball to Christian Kirk, whether he said, if you get all out blitzed here, throw it over the top and drop a seed in his lap. But that's not a coaching thing.
I mean, to a point, I do agree with you on that. I know that those guys I'm sure they have plays set up for man coverage. So whether that was his first read or not, I'm sure it was like, hey, you see one-on-one coverage across the board, go here. If it's not there, we trust Kirk enough to beat his guy one-on-one. So I do think it is a mixture, though, to Shally's point, of Kyler growing and Cliff growing. I mean, this is their third year together. They have some chemistry. They got a real offseason together this past year. And then they got him more weapons. I mean, we saw Rondale Moore. He emerged, and he's looking like the key player that we thought he could be coming out of the class. So.
I don't disagree with that. But can we not act like – all right, so, like, Rondale Moore is great, and I had no issues with him coming out of the class.
Mm-hmm.
He has 67-yard touchdown on a blown coverage where he was wide open. Like any receiver in football could have. Like that's not like him making a remarkable play.
But I mean, just in general though, with him being as much of a speed threat as he is in his playmaking ability, like granted, that one play was blown coverage, nobody makes that play. But you can see that they're going to use him as a key part of their offense, and they're going to run different wrinkles to make him be successful in that offense.
I'm amazed how they've gotten 4 wide receivers just involved. You got D-Hop. You got A.J. Green scored a touchdown. Christian Kirk's got a couple touchdowns. Rondale Moore.
Yep.
I'm amazed how they got everybody involved.
I mean, if you have good game planning, you spread the ball around, it makes it that much harder to defend. And again, with Moore, I think
You're
it's
such a dickhead. Good game planning. I'm just
saying.
saying.
I think you're going to see more. I think you're going to see him more involved in the game plan and scheme for him more as the season goes. They will draw up more plays for him. He'll have a bigger target package. He's going to learn the offense too. He's a rookie, so he's one of those guys that I mean, I'm not going to call him Tyreek Hill, but he's that type of guy. Like he has certain attributes that most people in the league don't, and I think they'll learn how to use them.
So a resident Titans fan checks in. Mike Vrabel now 8-0 after double-digit losses. Joseph Jeffers, thank you very much on the wire line. Chris Cargan checks in. I'm truly convinced after Brady's 5 touchdowns Sunday that he's going to play until he's 65. He makes it look easy. Any comment on either one of those?
I mean Jalen Hurts made it look easy against the Falcons too. So
Falcons may be the worst team in football, and I don't think people are understanding how bad they are. I also think, I mean, that Vrabel stat's interesting, but Seattle pissed that game away like horribly.
100%.
Yep, horribly.
Yes, I agree.
Which is crazy because they were at home too. But I don't know. I mean, it's early. We still have 15 weeks to go. I mean, I really don't think. I think a lot of teams you still don't know what they are. I mean, you have teams that played great the first week and looked awful, like New Orleans. Like Jameis started doing Jameis things again.
Right? I love that we did overreactions after we won. I love that we did overreactions after. Guys, it's a 17-game season. 18 weeks of football, 17-game season. Relax. Calm down.
Jameis falling over.
The other thing, too, right now, I mean, the Titans have the luxury of essentially playing with house money depending on what's going on in Indianapolis with Carson and his injury. I mean, of course, I don't think anyone in their camp wanted them to start out 0-2. But if Carson's hurt now, you don't know how bad the start of the season goes. So the Titans really have the opportunity to really put themselves ahead in a division that was going to be a dogfight till the end.
To be fair,
the only thing that's
if the Colts win this week, they're
no. That's true. But if Carson's not playing though, I don't think anyone would favor them to win this week. So that's like the
Indy also has two of their toughest games off the schedule already. Like Tennessee's going to play them later in the year, and Tennessee has to go.
Play Seattle.
Yeah, but Tennessee still has to go to Los Angeles.
I mean, Arizona, Los Angeles. It's very, very similar football teams. I think they both play two tough games. I actually, and Indy's both games were at home. Titans got a road win at Seattle, which I think is a very tough place to win. So, like, with that being said, I still think this division's won in the division. Like how they beat up on Jacksonville, how they beat up on the Texans, and obviously they're head-to-head. What I think this week will show you is I got a weird feeling. I think Carson's going to play Sunday, and I really think the Colts win. And I don't think it's a Carson win. I think it's a Jonathan Taylor win. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to run wild this week. I swear to you, like some divine interventions telling me Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over the Titans this week.
So.
Sorry.
Hasn't had a good game yet.
Nope.
He will this week. I just feel like it.
Team.
I feel like it. It's only 2 weeks.
I know.
Relax.
I know.
RELAX.
Hey, I'm 0-2 in fantasy. I get a little anxious after I 0-2 start.
Let's get into.
Are you 0-2 in our league?
No, I'm 2-0. Come on now.
What are you talking about then?
I got other leagues, you know.
Care about your little booty league, bro.
So let's preview this week, and it would not be a preview if we don't start with Eagles boys. Eagles Cowboys this week. Cowboys week. Look,
bad week.
Why?
Because we're gonna get smoked.
You think so?
I do.
I don't. I do not.
That's funny.
Writing's on the wall. You'll see.
What writing?
I mean, we want to get right into it. We can. I mean, he's almost at 40% for throws that are more than 10 yards in the air. And I said it after the first week. That's all going to work against Atlanta. It didn't work against San Francisco. You had the Rager one come back. That was a nice throw, but it was out of bounds. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people keep bitching about it, but it was a great throw. But
that's Rager stepping out of bounds, though.
Correct. You can't run out of bounds, but that's part of the game. It happens.
And the Quez play was huge.
It was.
I just don't like the play call on 4th and goal.
That whole series was terrible.
Bro, listen to me real quick. And if anyone hasn't heard this yet, I'm going to say it again. You can't run the Philly special with a quarterback that has a spy on him in the red zone because he runs the ball. You can't run the Philly special with a quarterback that has a spy on him in the red zone because he runs the football.
Yep.
That's dumb.
I just can't believe they didn't audible out or call timeout. I mean, like literally, he motioned out, and the guy literally went with him, and I was like he saw the same thing I did. I was like, this isn't gonna work. And then as soon as they started doing the reverse action, I'm like, oh, well, here we go. And there's nowhere to go. He literally threw the ball like in the stands. I was like, it was terrible.
The funny thing is though, is that one, how do you throw the ball away on 4th down? But two,
well, I mean,
you don't think
throw it.
You don't. No, it's 4th down. You don't throw the ball away. No matter, even if you just throw a jump ball, it doesn't matter. It's 4th down. But the funny thing is that going up against Philly, no matter what team I am, if I'm going up against Philly, I got even if it's just 2 plays in practice, hey, we're going to defend against the Philly special. We don't know if they're going to run it or not, but this is what you do in case that happens. I mean, I don't know how. I think everybody would have been expecting that play there. Once you see the quarterback go in motion, you're like, all right, we know what's coming. Easy way to stop it.
I got news for you. I don't think this game's a blowout at all. I think Dallas is weak right where we need him to be weak. Marcus Lawrence isn't playing. Brandon Graham's not playing. Lyle Collins is not playing. Brandon Brooks isn't playing. I don't look at this game as anything of a mismatch. I think the Philadelphia Eagles cornerbacks, the way they set up, match up well with the Cowboys receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper's going to be out, so I can see that.
I really, truly believe that this is not a bad spot for the Eagles. I think they go in there. I think it's a field goal game one way or the other. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. Monday Night Football comes down to the last whistle.
I think it's at least a touchdown game.
Really?
It's the best offense we played all year.
I don't see it. Okay. I think the Eagles are going to move the ball. Cowboys defense isn't San Francisco's defense.
Agreed. But we haven't. I mean, we played Atlanta, who again we're 0-2, and they're awful. They're probably the worst team in football. If it's not Jacksonville, it's Atlanta. And you played San Francisco, which is a very plodding along offense. You're gonna play defense. We'll see what this defense is Monday night. This is their first true test. So we'll see.
I actually think there's a lot of things that went against the Eagles in that San Francisco game. I don't know how you call what's the kid's name from the backup safety? I was playing from McLeod. Come on, help me out here. Backup safety was playing from they call it the personal foul, which I thought was complete bullshit. When Trey Sermon, it wasn't a personal foul.
Yeah, dude.
You fumble the ball, we get the ball down 6. I just.
You can't hit somebody in the head with your helmet. I mean,
He did hit him. He hit shoulder.
I mean,
it was shoulder,
you
100%.
okay. No, we're not. I'm not going backwards with this.
You don't need to go backwards. I like the Eagles this week. I like the Eagles, and I think it stays within a field goal, one way or the other. I think Jalen Hurts balls out in prime time. I really do. Your thoughts, Control? You're the unbiased third party.
I mean, I like to lean the Cowboys' way with it being a home game. I do think that, although Brooks and Graham are missing, I think that's going to be a bigger loss for the Eagles as opposed to Collins and Lawrence on the defensive side of the ball. I really feel
that's incorrect.
No, it's 100% correct.
Let me tell you why it's incorrect.
I'm going to tell you 100% why it's correct.
So hold on.
Okay.
You think Derek Barnett from Brandon Graham is a bigger downgrade than what DeMarcus Lawrence's backup is?
No. It's not about the pieces that fill in for them. I'm talking about the importance of what they do.
Continue. What do they do? Let me hear you out.
So the Cowboys' strength of their team isn't their defensive line. The strength of their team now is their linebacking core. So against the Eagles, I think they're going to have linebackers that are going to fly around, which is Keanu Neal's playing he's basically a makeshift linebacker now. They're going to have him and Micah Parsons are probably going to spy Jalen Hurts all day long. And Jalen Hurts is a guy that's going to get outside the pocket to try to make plays. That's why I don't think while the DeMarcus Lawrence loss is big, I don't think it's going to be as big because Jalen Hurts is going to be playing the game from the sidelines as opposed to playing it straight from the pocket. Like if they're going up against a pocket passer, I would agree with you that DeMarcus Lawrence loss will be bigger. But the way Jalen Hurts plays, I think that it gives the Cowboys, I guess, more of an advantage losing their guys as opposed to the Eagles their guys. With the Eagles losing Brandon Graham up front, the Cowboys are going to run right at you with Zeke. And you got to –
no issues there.
You say that.
Zeke don't run for 60 yards this game. I'll mark that shit down now.
Okay.
We'll see. Brandon Brooks is by far the biggest loss out of all the 4 of those players. And you saw it Sunday when he went out. We couldn't run the ball anymore.
I got to give credit to Landon Dickerson, though. After the first, 2 or 3 plays,
he didn't play bad, but he's not Brandon Brooks.
No, he's not.
And and you saw it with the play calling. It completely changed. It completely changed for Brandon Brooks out of that game. Miles Sanders had 60-some yards in the first half. He had 4 carries in the second half. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Same week, same story. And again, that is not a game where you want Dallas to have the ball 14 times. They have to run the ball Monday night. They have to run the ball. If they run
I don't disagree with that.
If they run the ball, Miles Sanders is a guy, he's proven week in and week out, if you give him the ball, he's averaging 6-7 yards a touch. He should touch the ball 20 times every game. There's no reason not to. I don't understand it. There's no reason to be calling up stupid, trick, roll out 3rd and 2 plays. Just give him the ball. Give him the ball and run behind the offensive line, which was dominating early in that game.
I'm gonna give 2 key points for the Eagles to win this football game.
I just gave you one of them.
I'll give you two to 3. Let me start with 2. Jalen Hurts needs to have 2 to 3 X plays for this game. What I mean by X plays is I mean a big touchdown pass. Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins. I'm talking big X plays. Okay. Second and most important, I don't know why this Philadelphia Eagles offense is completely – I get it, they want to go speed. They're completely going away from their bread and butter pass catchers. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert have got to catch more balls. They have to throw in the ball more. The Philadelphia Eagles, offensively, I think Goddard took 39 snaps, Ertz 38. And it was actually brutal. I think they had a total of 4 catches between the 2 of them in 80 snaps. Have to throw the ball to the tight ends. I think the entire game stems on Dallas Cowboys offense is going to score. I just don't think they're just going to score 30. It all depends on if the Eagles can move the ball and score. I think the Eagles win the game 31-28. Mark that shit down. You want to give me predictions on score?
I'll go Cowboys 27, Eagles 20.
I'm picking it later, so I'll do it then.
Okay. Vinny DiNocenzo, who's too drunk to show up to our goddamn softball game yesterday. This has been the downfall of the Eagles offense for years. We do not run enough, and I cannot figure out why.
It's true.
I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why, Vinny? I got you. Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie are why. If you didn't listen to Doug Peterson's exit interview when he got called into Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie's office and got yelled at for winning a football game at Green Bay because they ran the football too much, that tells you everything you need to hear. The meddling from the front office is your biggest issue. Done. Okay, so next game to get into, RELAX. We got Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Aaron Rodgers looked awesome Monday night. They're going to go to San Francisco on a short week and play at the 49ers. 49ers are 3.5-point favorites in the game. What's your guys' thoughts?
It's an interesting line for me, especially with as banged up as San Francisco is.
They're trying to get you to bet on the Packers.
I know. Again, I mean, Detroit's really bad. I mean, Detroit gave them everything they could handle in the first half. I mean, Green Bay played well enough to win that game. I don't know if Green Bay's anywhere near playing at the potential that they are with that team. Aaron Rodgers had a great second half. They really haven't still really got Devontae Adams going yet. Your boy Aaron Jones had a great game. I don't know. I mean, I tend to lean Green Bay in that game just because San Francisco's so banged up, but I think it'll be a good game. I think it's a sneaky possibility to be game of the week.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be lower scoring than people think it's gonna be too.
Fair.
I got a feeling that this game is gonna also be low scoring, but I do think I like the Packers in this one. Obviously, the line is telling you everything you need to know when it comes to they want people to hop on Green Bay. I mean, it's essentially a pick 'em, but I like the Packers in this one. I think Aaron Rodgers finally knocked off that rust after the first game. If you want to say it was only the Lions, I mean, I'll agree with you. But some of the passes that he was making, it made me realize, hey, this is the Aaron Rodgers that I'm used to. Regardless of, even if it was on air, just the pass, seeing the passes that he was making, I realized that Aaron Rodgers he's ready to play football now. Aaron Jones, I don't think he's going to be as successful as he was, obviously, against the Lions. But I do think that Green Bay team has enough to knock the 49ers off on the road.
Okay.
I will say one thing, and I'm not saying this as an overreaction. I'll give Jared Goff credit for playing on that team this year.
He's playing well.
Playing real well. He's got a little bit more pride and a little tougher than I thought he was. I'll be honest. I'll admit that.
All right, so I got a stat for you. Since 2017, this is one of those weird stats that people don't believe in. It's fine. Since 2017, 80% of home teams that win on Monday Night Football that play on the road the next week lose or don't cover.
Well, which one? I mean, that's a big difference.
It's don't cover. 100% don't
Okay.
cover. I just said so. 80% of home for the Packers it would be lose.
Right.
But 80% of home teams that win on Monday Night Football that go on the road the following week do not cover the spread. So for that, and now that Vegas is trying to get you to bet on Green Bay, I gotta like San Fran in this one. I have to. It's just statistics 101. I'm gonna take the 4 out of 5 shot every time. I think San Francisco's defense is good. I think San Francisco's zone blocking scheme will be able to run the football. I think Green Bay's offensive line is shaky. They just started your boy John Runyon at left guard or right guard Monday night.
Yep.
6th round draft pick. I don't know. In my personal opinion, I think San Francisco runs the ball down their throat. I agree with you, a low scoring game. I'd probably say 24-17 49ers. Let's get the Chargers Chiefs. Division rivals. These are great games. We have to talk about them all.
Yep.
Chargers Chiefs, great games. Chargers coming off a real bad loss. A loss in which I felt like, and listen, maybe it's because I hate the Cowboys, but I watched that game. I watched it on Red Zone, and I watched it at the Dave & Buster's.
For some of the officiating, no, it's not because it was Cowboys. That was terrible.
Both sides.
The officiating was awful.
Both sides.
I disagree.
It was really bad with Dallas.
I think every time, dude, I think L.A. had 3 touchdowns called back by penalty.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely bad.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes that they made was that the touchdown that the Chargers, and they didn't get points for it. They literally went. I think they made a 48-yard field goal, but they had first and goal and they scored.
Yeah, 2, and they ended up on like the 30.
Yep,
it was ridiculous.
I think that the Chargers were robbed in that football game.
NFL called that in, dude. Dallas was to start 0-2.
I agree.
No way.
I really, really feel like that game was like not fixed, but maybe it was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
I mean, it was bad when you go on Twitter and Skip Bayless is even saying like, did the NFL gift Dallas a win? I mean, I told you all you need to know. He's the biggest Dallas homer ever.
Chris Cargan on a wire line. I felt the refs took the game away from the Chargers.
They did.
The call on Herbert down was awful. Matt D. Godfrey.
It was bad.
A lot of people. This is just maybe they're all Eagles fans. Maybe we're all.
No,
Cargan's a Titans fan.
I thought the officiating was. I thought the officiating was bad. I just granted, more calls went against the Chargers, but I thought the officiating just throughout the game was just bad. That's why I said both ways. I didn't think they had a great showing in that game.
Gotta give Greg DeLegis credit though, hitting that 52-yard walk-off.
He did. Big time kick.
After struggling last week.
What do you guys think, Chargers Chiefs? Chiefs lost the game on Sunday Night Football. They're coming home after a loss. So 2 games after a loss, divisional game. Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites. You know what I feel about 6.5-point games? I hate those. I hate the spread. I think the Chargers keep the game really close. I think the Chiefs win but don't cover. I have to give a full. I think, and another thing, the over/under is weird. The over/under is weird as hell to me. You would think Chiefs Chargers would be the highest scoring game of the week, right? 2 high-powered offenses. They're going to throw the ball around the yard, and they're third in over/under. It's only 54.5. I felt like it should be higher. I don't get that. I don't understand it.
Well, the other thing too, I feel like Vegas is kind of protecting themselves in a sense that the Chargers offense hasn't really woke up yet. In a sense, we haven't seen the dynamic of the Chargers team like how we would expect them to see. So if they go out and lay an egg against Kansas City and it's they score 17 points and Kansas City scores 30, but they're in full control of the game, they're probably just playing it safe. There is kind of my thinking behind that. But to what we talked about earlier with Baltimore and Kansas City, I do think we're going to see the Chargers' best shot at Kansas City. They're going to give them everything they can handle. And I think they have a good matchup for them. They have the D-line that can get some pressure on Mahomes. And then in the back half with Derwin James, they got somebody who can, cover a side of the field and also come down and make plays in the run game. So I think the Chiefs win. I do think it's going to be a close game as well. I actually tend to lean towards the under in this one just because I do think it's going to be a tight game. I don't think the Chiefs are going to give up too many big plays to Herbert and those guys. And then vice versa, you're going to see, like I said, the Chargers are going to give them everything they can handle.
The Chiefs have had notoriously issues with divisional opponents. Last year, they lost the game to the Las Vegas Raiders.
They had the walk-off against the Chargers last year.
They're notoriously, and the teams that see that team more often than not. I think it's 30-24 Chiefs. That stays under by half a point. The Chargers covered the game, the 6.5. What do you think?
I think it's a tight game. I think the worst part for the Chargers is getting Kansas City off a loss. I don't think they're going to play as sloppy as they did against Baltimore. But it's tough. It's home. Going to Arrowhead any time of the year is not conducive to playing good football. Mahomes will be better than he was. The Chargers are a good team. They're a really good team. I've said it, since the beginning of the year. The AFC West is a very good football division this year. You have 4 very good teams. And to your credit, to your point, it's no different than the NFC East. We've been 3-12 at times, and we'll go to Dallas and beat the hell out of them. We have those rivalries, and you play each other twice every single year. It's AFC North's no different. It's teams that have been in the same division with each other for 60 years. It's not going to change. I think it'll be a really good football game. Again, it's another one that could possibly be game of the week. You got a lot of star power in that game. Herbert versus Mahomes. It'll be fun.
Segue, shall I give me the game of the week? Game of the week this week has to be 2 undefeated teams. Bucks at Rams. You got Tampa going into LA, going into SoFi, most beautiful stadium in the NFL. That place is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is they did a good job. That place is nuts and it's huge.
I got a bold prediction for you. I'll give it away right now.
Good.
I think Tampa Bay loses their next 2 games.
Next 2 games? Who do they have next week?
At New England.
They're not losing to New England.
I think they are. I think that
I actually can't wait for that game.
I think the Rams win this game.
I won't be surprised if the Rams win this game at all. I think with his
they won this game last year at Tampa.
Yeah, I mean it's the game we watched.
Yep.
I think Tampa's banged up enough on the back end, and again, this isn't a Jared Goff Rams team anymore. It's Matt Stafford. I mean, I think if they blow coverages, Matt Stafford's going to make them pay. Cooper Kupp's having a great start to the season. They really haven't even gotten Robert Woods going yet. And Jefferson is looking like he's like the next thing. Henderson hasn't been great. He's been okay. He's hurt. I don't know if he's even going to play. They've got Higbee involved. I mean, that he's got weapons, man. I mean, it's kind of no different on either side of the ball. I mean, there's an offense that matches up as well with Tampa Bay. I mean, this is one of them.
Well, my Super Bowl prediction before the season started was Chiefs versus Rams. And for that to happen, I think the Rams have to get over the hump of the Buccaneers and beating the Bucs in their own house. I like the Rams in this one. I like them a lot. Almost enough to make them a pick. I didn't, but almost enough.
I saw Antonio Brown got put on the COVID list today too, so I don't know if he's going to play.
They said
I have 2 negative tests.
They said most likely it's going to be. Adam Schefter reported he was like it's going to be pretty much impossible. Not impossible, but it's going to be tough for him to get back for this Sunday. But basically, he'll be back for next week.
Well, he's got to be 72 hours symptom free, and then back-to-back or negatives.
Did he say he tested positive?
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did test positive.
He tested positive.
Oh, I thought he was close. Then he's done. He's not playing.
He tested positive, but he's vaccinated. So it's technically he only needs 2 days. But the way that they're testing and everything happens, they're like it's basically. It's pretty much guaranteed he's not going to play, but there's a small glimmer of hope.
We figured that. I mean, they're going to fly out Friday, so I mean, yeah. I mean, they could always fly him behind. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they have the resources to do that, but I mean, I would say he's probably not going to play.
You mean the NFL franchise can fly a player out?
Yeah,
you figure if he
tests
positive, if he tested positive today, he's going to probably test positive tomorrow, and then
yeah, he's not going to play.
He's going to be out of luck for the game.
I mean, they'll be fine. Don't get me wrong, but I mean,
blow.
I really like the Rams this week.
I think the Rams win. I think it's a close game. I think you're gonna get Ramsey probably on Mike Evans, and not having Antonio Brown there now makes it a lot easier to match up with Tampa Bay. The game's at home. They're playing well. I like their defense better than Tampa's right now because Tampa's so banged up on the back end.
Yep.
Same thing. I think like 27-24, 28-24 Rams. I'm with you on that one.
High scoring. So I think it's gonna be higher scoring than that.
It could be.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I am leaning Rams. I do like the Rams to win this one. I just have a feeling that this isn't gonna be the explosive juggernaut that a lot of people are claiming it to be. Just because, although the Bucs defense is banged up, I mean they still got guys, and this is still gonna be, like you said, it's game of the week.
They got guys like Laser and Blazer. Dodgeball reference.
But yeah, Tom, this is gonna be clearly Tom's toughest test yet this season. So I think it's gonna take some time to get used to. Obviously, I think those guys get it rolling, but I don't think it's gonna be the high scoring game.
It's the only better team than them in the NFC.
I think Tampa's going to try to run the ball too, slow the game down a little bit. So I mean, it'll be curious.
I don't know if I want to do that either.
I don't know.
Aaron Donald's a man.
Can run away from him.
Let's get into picks, baby. Pick 'em. I told you I'd go 2-1. By the way, Ravens outright. I had them plus the points, so I was good regardless, even if Kansas City kicked that field goal. Also had. I literally marked it down. Fuck it. I'm 3-3 on the season. I tell you right now, I want to get 5 picks this week. If you're betting out there, plus points, guys. Plus points. Take the friggin' points across the board. You take every dog this week, you're going to win money. I'm going to go third. Control, start us off with your picks, NFL.
All right, so my picks this week. I like the Seahawks to cover 1.5 at Minnesota. I know this is kind of a weird spread. I think the Seahawks win the game, so that's why I like them plus minus 1.5. I also like the over in the Browns and Bears game. It's at 46.5, and I really feel like although Justin Fields, this is going to be his first start, the Browns can't cover anybody right now. They really gotta piece it together on their defense. They're still trying to work some things out with their core. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I see it being like, 31-21 Browns, kind of similar to what it was last week against the Texans. And then I really like the under in the Bucs versus Rams game. It's at 55.5. I think that the Rams and Bucs defense are both going to show up. They're going to make it tough for the opposing quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, those guys are going to get it rolling. I think they win the game, but it's going to be a lower scoring game. I shouldn't say lower scoring, but I like 27-24 where you're at like 51 points.
They announced anything on OBJ yet?
He is full go at practice, so he's most likely going to play this week.
Yeah, Chow, give me yours.
I actually like the under in that game still. But I'm going, my first pick, I'm going to take Arizona minus 6.5 at Jacksonville. Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about it with the way that offense is running right now. Jacksonville.
You're just giving yourself a point.
What are you talking about?
It's a 7.5 spread.
It wasn't when I looked at it.
Just giving yourself a point.
I'm not giving myself anything. I mean, if it's 7.5, I'll take 7.5 too. I'm telling you what it was when I looked it up and I wrote it down.
Gotcha.
Again, I just think they're going to score too many points. Tyler Lawrence, it just isn't ready, or to. He's just not comfortable yet, and you could see it. And it's going to be hard to score a lot of points on that defense. And Kyler, they're just clicking on all cylinders right now. So I'll take Arizona. At Jacksonville, I am taking the Raiders minus 3.5 over Miami. I think with no Tua, the Raiders are the way they're scoring. I like them at home, and I'm taking Dallas minus 3.5 over Philly.
Wow. All right, so I got to lead into it because I'm directly against each one of you guys on one of your picks. So I'll start with the one I'm directly against you on. I love the under in the Browns versus Bears game.
So do I.
Love it. Absolutely love it. The Browns are going to pressure the quarterback, and the Bears' offensive line stinks. They're terrible. And the Bears are going to run the football to try to take the pressure off Justin Fields. It's going to slow the game down. The Browns play a ton of games that go under. Low-scoring dog fights. I think the Browns win this one 21-10, and that was way under the 46.5. Love the Browns under. I actually like the over in the Seahawks versus Vikings game. It's 55.5. I know that sounds crazy. I took the highest over. I'm still saying it goes over. I don't think either one of these defenses is going to stop anybody. Russell Wilson's been scoring at a ridiculous rate. And I'll tell you another thing. Kirk Cousins looked pretty good last week. And that Seattle Seahawks defensive line is not getting at the quarterback. They're just not. Ryan Tannehill had all day. Julio Jones put up a day. I think Justin Jefferson has a day. I think Dalvin Cook has a day. I think that game is very high scoring. I think both teams get in the 30s. Okay, so you had the Las Vegas Raiders minus 3.5. I have the Miami Dolphins +4. Jacoby Brissett, I think, is an upgrade, especially with a week of planning, over Tua. Everyone's sold on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to ask you guys a question real quick. You guys can answer any way you want. Do they have a top? They're 2-0. They're Las Vegas. They're here this year. Bullshit. Do they have a top 10 quarterback?
No.
Do they have a top 10 running back?
No.
Do they have a top 10 receiving core?
No.
Do they have a top 10 defensive line?
No.
They're not a top 10 team. They're not that good. Everyone likes to overreact. Dolphins got their ass kicked at home. Raiders won it at Pittsburgh. I love 5 stars. 5-star play. Love the Dolphins +4.
Does Miami have a top 10 quarterback?
No.
Do they have a top 10 running back?
No.
Do they have a top 10 receiving core?
No.
Do they have a top 10
They have a
offensive
top
line?
10 defense.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be very evident this week the Miami Dolphins are a better football team than the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Dolphins win the game outright, but I'll obviously take the 4 points.
You're taking that extra half point?
Yeah, well, it's 4 points. That's what the spread is.
Oh, all right.
Well, I'll take it 3.5. I'll take it 4. It doesn't matter, but I'll take the Dolphins.
It is
And I'm
at-
adding a bonus game.
It is at 4.
Oh, cool.
I don't lie. I'm adding a bonus game. I'm adding a bonus game just because I want to. Because I want to call out every Steelers fan that's listening to me. The Steelers stink, okay? Ben Roethlisberger is done. His shoulder is shot. TJ Watt's not playing. The Bengals are going to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Mark that shit down now. That's my 4th game this week. I got the Bengals over the Steelers outright. Joey Burrow. Let's get an NCAA. I feel good. I really like my picks this week.
Okay.
I like a lot of plus points, guys. Take all the points this week. Like Lions +7.5 versus the Ravens. Ravens are on a letdown game after beating the Chiefs. I love a lot of teams getting points this week. All right, so let's get into college football. Oh, by the way, we can talk about Penn State, baby. We are Penn State getting that win over Auburn. Huge win for Penn State. Won that football game. Wasn't much doubt to me. I didn't feel like it was much doubt to me. Penn State wins that football game over Auburn. What you guys think? The Nittany Lions, best team in the Big Ten.
I think that's what we call a overreaction. But no, it is.
Who are you arguing?
I mean,
Iowa.
you argue Iowa and you argue
Ohio
State.
State. You argue Ohio State.
I'm not even going to even like joke around and even argue Michigan. You're not arguing Ohio State right now.
Oh, I mean,
your argument's Iowa.
If you argue Michigan, I wouldn't. You argue Michigan, I wouldn't argue too much with you. But
Jesus.
No, I mean Penn State played a good game against Auburn. I think Auburn's a team that's better than what they came into the season ranked. I mean, they were an unranked team. I know we talked about it a little bit last week. They kind of jumped in the rankings just by beating two no-name schools. But, I mean, I think Auburn's shown you that they're a decent football team this year. And so for Penn State to win that game at home against Bo Nix, a veteran quarterback on that Auburn team, I think it says a lot. The Penn State defense says a lot. Joey Porter Jr., really good player. And Penn State's going to be a tough team to play against. But I do think it is a bit of an overreaction that they're the best team in the Big Ten.
It's not an overreaction. It's them or Iowa.
I think it's not just them or Iowa.
Yes, it is.
You got probably 5 teams that are going to be top 25 teams.
Who's the best team in the Big Ten right now? It's them or Iowa?
It's them or Ohio State for me.
What?
It's Iowa or it's Ohio State for me.
Really?
Yes.
Bro, what about Ohio? Listen, outside of you're a fan, what about Ohio State shows you're the best? Because their name is Ohio State?
No, you act like Oregon is just this school of the poor. Like that they just went out and just got steamrolled by this Oregon team that was awful. Oregon is a good football team. Granted, I think they should have won the game because they're a good team, but Oregon is still a good program. That's nothing to just be like, oh, they're officially awful this year.
I'm not saying Oregon's a bad football team. I just don't know how you can say, watching 3 of Ohio State's games, think they're that they're possibly better than both Iowa and Penn State.
I think the other thing, too, is that Sean Clifford, say it with me, stinks. So I'm not a believer
CJ Stroud so far stinks.
Hey, that's fine, but Ohio State has arguably the best running back in the Big Ten. So I mean, and they
has a better defense.
I agree.
The defense is the strength of Penn State.
Yeah.
Clifford is going to fall into that if he can play games clean and make throws when he needs to, almost the game manager type, which I hate using. But if he goes into that role and does it well, I mean, they're going to be tough. I know. Where do you guys play them? We have to go there.
No, we're at home.
I mean that
our only tough games, we got to go to Ann Arbor, and I think that's really the only thing we go to Indiana.
I know Iowa almost also lucked out. They don't play any of us this year. We don't play them. You guys don't play them, I believe, either.
They don't play anybody unless they play in the Big Ten championship.
I do think they play Penn State, though. I think Penn State goes there.
They don't.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I know they play Wisconsin, but
well, I mean, they're in their division. They have to. I mean, it was a big win. I mean, listen, I'm firmly in the same boat with you are with a lot of James. I was waiting for James Franklin to lose that game somehow. Like I really was.
So was I. I can't lie. So was I. I hate him.
They got. I mean,
great recruiter.
And to their credit, they had a lot of adversity go against them in that game. So I will give them credit for that.
Jahan Doxson, though, man.
Penn State does play at Iowa.
They do.
At Iowa.
I don't like that.
No.
They play at Iowa and Iowa.
Is there a time announced for that game yet?
8 o'clock.
It's going to be TBD. Well, that's going to be your night game.
That's your night game.
October 9th.
God damn it.
October 9th.
That's going to be 8 o'clock kickoff at Kinnick Stadium, sir. That'll be a hostile environment.
They play
hostile environment.
They play at Iowa, then they get a home game breather against Illinois, then they play at Ohio State.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, that's their season right there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, they'll win 2 of those 3.
I will tell you this again. I think there's a decent chance a Big Ten team doesn't make the playoffs.
I said that.
Yeah.
My predictions didn't happen in the playoff.
Yeah.
The only team that I predicted to be in the playoff that I don't think will be there now is Clemson because DJ Ukulele stinks.
Listen, man. I mean, listen. It's for the amount of praise that we gave us to
Georgia
guys last
Tech
year.
With 14 points versus Georgia Tech.
I will tell you.
Oh,
you don't just replace a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence overnight. You just don't do it. And this is I don't care what you recruit. I don't care what you were. It just goes to show you and how much respect you need to give those kids for how good of college players they were. They're not a dime a dozen. You're not just going to pick a kid and put them in offense and they're going to be fantastic and be that way. Those kids are both really good.
Yep, I agree.
And you're seeing it now.
I want Dante. I'm all aboard with you. Kenneth Walker and Michigan State. They're absolutely handling business there. It was all over them last week. I do like Michigan State. They're a sneaky good team this year.
Fair point. Let's get into the game. I have my egg on my face. I'm like all hyped up, all happy. Penn State. Egg on my face. Didn't want to talk about this game last week. Alabama survived Florida. That's
a good word.
31-29.
I mean, they jumped out. I mean, it was what 21-6, 21-3. I mean, it was, it was funny. I turned it on. I was like, this is going to be way worse than I thought it was going to be. And then Florida just kept inching their way back into the game. They started running the ball, started running play action. They called Alabama a couple times, blown coverages, big plays, very un-Alabama-like. But at the end of the day, I mean, Alabama does what they do. They got tough in the end. They won. They have one game left that's going to be worth, worth the shit. Which is going to. I will say the Ole Miss Alabama game I think will be very interesting. I don't think Ole Miss that game's got like 55-51 written all over it. I think Ole Miss will score points on Alabama.
Ole Miss.
I don't think they stop Alabama once, but it'll be fun to watch. Matt Corral, I mean, that'll be a very big game for him if he's going to really make a Heisman.
Matt Corral has looked awesome.
Yeah, that will be a very that'll be a very kind of a very big test for him.
Hold on. Chris Cargan, hold on. Did you watch last week's show? Did anybody here predict Florida cover?
No, that's my first loss. I took Alabama.
Bill and Control were right. Gene, you said Florida wouldn't score 17 points. I was surprised. I think we all said Florida wasn't going to score. Am I wrong? I was wrong. I have egg on my face. I'll say it right now.
I mean, that was one of my. I took Alabama to cover. That was one of my picks.
Yeah.
I think I said 34-20 was my final.
Yeah. So you had Florida covered.
I mean, by half a point.
You had them covering.
I guess. I'm pretty sure
I was wrong.
Pretty sure I said 34-20.
Paul Gravitz, huge Bama fan. Best thing that happened to Bama was that game. Needed a wake up call. They aren't invincible.
Correct.
I agree. I agree with you.
By
the way, he's a Braves fan, though. We can't be friends right now.
I don't think they're invincible, but I think this goes back to what we talked about like at the preview show. It was going to be a transitional year for Ohio State, for Clemson, and they're down. And you could say Alabama's down, but they're not as down as much as everybody else. Like they're still going to be better than everybody else.
I'll make a statement though.
You've the one team, and it's and Oklahoma hasn't looked good at all.
No, they haven't.
So I mean, you're down to two
teams. But I'll make a statement after watching that game, Bama versus Florida. Georgia's definitely got a better defense than Bama right now. It might not be that way at the end of the season. It might change, but right now, Georgia's definitely got a better defense.
I mean, yes, I do agree with you. I told you that when we talked earlier, but the one thing about that too is that I mean that'll play itself out. We'll see how Georgia handles that Florida offense.
By the way, Paul, do you like every team that begins with the letter A?
Jacksonville, right?
That's right. Yeah, they play.
Paul likes Atlanta, Alabama, and Arizona. Like it's all A's, 3 A's. He explained this to me. He explained it to all of us before when I was asking him about it. But he actually flew out to Atlanta to watch a Braves game. A good guy, great guy. Okay, I wish I could meet him. I know he lives in Arizona. Awesome guy though.
Braves suck.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're gonna win the division though.
Fortunately, I predicted that correctly.
Fortunately. All right, let's get into our college picks.
We got a quick game.
Oh, we got to go over them. My bad.
Two games.
My bad. Notre Dame plays Wisconsin. I mean, the 2 games this week suck. This is the worst college football week this season.
They're not going to be. Notre Dame, Wisconsin is not going to be exciting.
That is a snooze.
That is going to be an old school
16-12.
Yeah, it could be.
Just ugly.
It could be. That's what it's going to be.
Wisconsin line keeps moving up. Is Notre Dame have like 50 people on the COVID list or something? It started at 4. It's at 6.5 now.
No, they just stink.
I get it, but so is Wisconsin.
True. But Wisconsin has.
Why is the line moved 2.5 points?
Wisconsin has a good defense and they're at home. I mean, I think that's what.
It'll come down at the end, though, because all the Notre Dame homers are going to bet it late in the week.
What do you guys like in the game?
I like Wisconsin. I don't think Wisconsin's going 1-2. They're going to be at home. And again, I think everybody's looking at that first week when they lost to Penn State, and you've now seen Penn State play great defense 3 weeks in a row. So I don't think that was as much about Wisconsin not being good as it is Penn State's defense is that legit. Notre Dame has struggled with everybody. They've struggled with Purdue. They struggle with Toledo. I mean, they're not. What are you laughing at? You guys almost lost to Tulsa.
Facts.
I don't think Notre Dame's going into Camp Randall winning that game. I don't. They've shown me literally nothing to make me believe that that's a possibility.
He flew back for the Bama game and stayed to catch a Braves game. So he watched the Bama game and then stayed to catch. What a fan. What a fan. What a guy Paul Gravitt is.
Must be tough flying around all those front runner teams.
Bro, he has
Shots
like a real story on how like he's fans of all those teams.
That's cool.
How do you see the game?
I agree with Charlie. I do like Wisconsin in this one. I don't agree with them on the fact that we saw that Wisconsin doesn't stink. They may not stink. Graham Mertz stinks. I'm all out on him.
Underperformed every big spot he's been in.
I had stock in Graham Mertz, but I've sold. I've sold all of it.
Same here. Sold pennies on the dollar too.
Yep.
I bought it $1, sold it like 84 cents, dude.
You might as well call him Doggy Coin because you bought him high and sold him low.
You guys were a sucker for.
I bought Dog Coin.
I'm talking about most everybody else.
Buying it from the get go.
But
I mean that's the interesting storyline there. So Jack Cohen's going back to Wisconsin. So
that is
Mertz took his job. He transferred out as a 5th-year senior to go to Notre Dame. So it's a homecoming for him of sort. I mean, so he's going to want to stick it to Wisconsin. So that's the intriguing storyline of that game.
That's true. And vice versa. I'm sure Wisconsin's like, hey, like we got our guy here. Like this is the guy we're building behind. This is who we want to win for. Like we want to stick it to you too. So
I like nobody in this game. I don't know. I like
just
either team.
0-0.
I just don't like
quadruple OT. Just they call the game.
Bro, if I had to pick it, I'd say take the points with Notre Dame. I don't think they're gonna win. I don't know. It's an ugly game.
It is very ugly.
From it. I wouldn't even put it on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read the score later. Let's get into the game A&M's going to lose. I mean, the game A&M plays versus Arkansas.
Arkansas.
This is a lazy-ass state name, by the way.
Don't get started.
All right. Okay. It's just AR before Kansas. I'm trying to add that on. But Arkansas, A&M, I think this is a bad spot for A&M.
It is.
I really do.
Real bad spot for A&M.
A&M's a 5.5-point favorite. I don't like them. I think
they are fool's gold right now. Fool's gold.
Yeah, I'm with you.
A&M hasn't had a consistent offensive play. Their quarterback got hurt. So, I mean, even if he plays, I mean, I don't see them being great offensively. Even, I mean, the game that they had against Kent where they won by 30 in the end, but, like, the quarterback struggled the first half, threw 2 picks against the Kent State defense, who's notoriously awful because, of course. But I think Arkansas really has it rolling this year. They found lightning in a bottle with that offense. We saw them knock off Texas, and now that kind of put them in the national spotlight. They're even ranked now. I think they're ranked 24th, and it's a home game for them. And Texas A&M being the favorites on the road, that's going to have a lot of motivation written all over for Arkansas. I'm rolling with Arkansas to win this one as well.
I like Arkansas in the game. What do you think?
Arkansas is actually one of my picks, but agreed. I mean, even if the starter comes back, he's not going to be healthy. They really should have lost to Colorado 2 weeks ago, to be honest. Colorado had every opportunity in the world to win that game.
Agreed.
Going to Arkansas, it's kind of a rejuvenating, team season for them out of nowhere. I don't think anybody had them going to be ranked 16 3 weeks into the season.
Nope.
I like Arkansas. It's probably my favorite pick of the week.
Well, let's get into picks of the week.
All right. Well, there's my first one. I got Arkansas at home plus 6.5.
Okay. Give me your second one.
I'm taking Michigan State minus 4.5 at home against Nebraska. I think that ship is about finally ready to sink, or completely sink. I don't think Scott Frost makes it through the year. I think the best they could have played was last week against Oklahoma, and it was
Shally hitting the super dog.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. And I picked that honestly because of Oklahoma, not so much Nebraska. Oklahoma just hasn't impressed me at all. But I like.
Should I have a loss in college football? Yeah. Oh yeah, Bama.
I do. Bama's my only loss so far.
I don't hold that one against you.
Yeah, have to. I like Michigan State minus 4.5 though. I don't think Nebraska's going to go in there and play well. And again, we've already talked about Tucker's got that team playing. I mean, they're probably going to beat somebody they shouldn't either too. So
give me your super dog.
My super dog, I am taking West Virginia plus 18.5 versus Oklahoma. West Virginia had a big win last week. They're going to go to Oklahoma. That offense is not anywhere close to clicking like everybody thought it was going to. Spencer Rattler hasn't been great at all. West Virginia is a solid football team. I think they keep it close.
All right, I'll go next. Good try, you go third. I'll stay on that game. I like the over in that game, 56. I don't think Oklahoma's going to stop West Virginia. I think Oklahoma's going to score.
They never stop anybody.
I like the over in that game. It's 56. So, I mean, I don't know if Oklahoma covers late or not, but I think that Oklahoma scores a ton, and I think they don't stop people. So I'll take the over and fit the over 56. I'm going to fade Vanderbilt all year. Georgia's playing at Vanderbilt this week. They're minus 35. I don't really care. Lay the points. They're going to win by 50.
I was
Vanderbilt's
looking at
terrible.
They are. I just, it's so many.
I don't care. Vanderbilt's awful. By the way, Vanderbilt was my win last week. Well, not Vanderbilt. Stanford was, because Vanderbilt stinks. I'm going to just say that all year. Vanderbilt stinks. Fade Vanderbilt. I might have took this if they were minus 42. I swear to God. Vanderbilt's terrible. Jordan, I don't know if they. I don't even know if they score. And my super dog, I got New Mexico State over Hawaii. New Mexico State's getting 17.5. They're playing at home. I like them over Hawaii. Hawaii's not that good.
Agreed.
College control.
So my picks for the week, I got one sexy pick, one middle of the road pick, and then of course my super dog. So the pick that I do like is Kentucky minus 5 going up against South Carolina. So
it's a tricky game.
I know it is, but I think South Carolina is also a little bit of fool's gold. They're playing good football right now, but they really haven't played good against anybody that is good, if that makes sense. They still have their transfer quarterback in Zeb Nolan from North Dakota State. I think Kentucky really has it rolling this year, and they're playing sneaky good football right now. So I think Kentucky's going to go in there. They're going to get 5 points, and I think Kentucky wins that game by like 10 or 12 points. Sexy pick of the week, I really like Syracuse plus 6 at home versus Liberty. Liberty is another school. Right now they're undefeated. They haven't really played anybody, and they're getting a lot of hype. But Syracuse is 2-1 right now. They had a tough loss to Rutgers. Granted, Rutgers isn't that good, but Syracuse at home, they're going to play really good football. They're going to show Liberty what's going on, and they're going to cover that 6-point spread.
Malik Willis, I'm telling you, heard it here first, man.
And then
Liberty going to win that game.
Nah, Syracuse plus 6 at home. I love it. And then super dog, Kent State versus Maryland, 14.5 points. I think that Kent has shown that they can play a little bit with the big dogs. Obviously, they're not good enough to beat any of the other big-name Power 5 schools, but I do think they can keep this game close. Dustin Crum is a quarterback that he can hang with Tua Tagovailoa. Maryland defense isn't great. I do like Maryland's offense, but I like Kent to cover 14.5.
Tiny Williams on the wire line said, "Sexy pick, what the hell?" She's a little upset with you. She doesn't like using that language. She said, "What the hell?"
Happens. Hey,
that is our pick'em.
Everything's sexy about making money.
Malik Willis.
Shally is going to be he's going to post the records on our page, and we're going to keep everything up to date, so you guys can see everything. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to smash NFL. Just mark that shit down. We got to get in our video game bracket. We've
Absolutely.
not finished this, and I'm ready to finish it. And we're going to give you a whole week to vote on it. We're going to do the same thing we did last time. Our votes count as 5 points, and then you guys can vote on the Facebook page. We'll post it tonight. We will close voting next week at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Facebook page. We got the finals. We got the heavyweight champions of the world. Everybody's in studio. We have time this week. NHL 94 versus Tecmo Super Bowl. I mean, this is it. Before we walked into this bracket, this is 2 of the top 4 teams in the whole thing.
Yep.
No doubt in my mind. This is a great, great finals.
Got this one right.
100%. 100%. NHL 94, wraparound. One of the greatest games I've ever played. I played so many games of this. You know, Legion of Doom, the Flyers, love that game. Tecmo Super Bowl. It was just like Tecmo Bowl on steroids. It was like we made it better. And it was one of those games that just, there's still tournaments to this day of Tecmo Super Bowl. It was like Madden before Madden. You actually had real play calls. You had teams. They're both they are my pride and joy of my childhood. Cottrell, I want you to start us off with this pick.
Well, I mean, I already got a stigma going against hockey games every single bracket, so I might as well stick with it. I'm going with Tecmo Super Bowl here. Loved NHL 94, and it's funny because NHL 94, this is the third straight round where it's gone up against a football game that I absolutely love, and literally all three of them I still have. And with Tecmo Super Bowl, I mean, it is the bee's knees. It's the creme de la creme, if you will. Loved it. So many memories playing it, with my dad on Super Nintendo and everything. And it's my number one video game, let alone just sports game. So going with Tecmo Super Bowl.
Shally.
NHL 94 for me.
Any reasons? Want to sell listeners?
I mean, we've talked about this stuff and ad nauseum at this point.
They might not even remember it's been so long.
It's been like a month. For me, it's a better gameplay. Tecmo's fun. And again, I've had many tournaments and watched friends getting fist fights over it, but I can say the same thing about NHL 94. I think the gameplay is more in depth, and to me, it's a slightly more fun game to play. That's the only reason I'm leaning that way, so I'm going to NHL 94. We know where you're going. So
No, you don't know where I'm going. I've picked NHL 94 in every round. So if you think I'm going Tecmo Super Bowl, I don't know if you really know that. I don't know where I'm at right now. I've been this way almost every single round. I love checking someone through the glass. I love the Legion of Doom. But I also love football, nostalgia. I feel like Tecmo Super Bowl was so far ahead of its time as far as play calling, as far as being able to develop a game plan to beat someone. There was no obviously there was glitch plays, but there was no real cheat code like Bo Jackson was in the original Tecmo Bowl. Football is my first love. I'm going to go Tecmo Super Bowl here. Tecmo Super Bowl is going to be my pick. It starts with a 5-vote advantage. We will post this on the wire line. I see Mike Francolino and Toxic Mike and Jamie already casting their votes for NHL 94.
Attaboy.
So right now it's 10-7. We'll obviously have a week's worth of voting. And guys, I'll tell you right now, unlike Remember the Titans versus Friday Night Lights, I do not care who wins this one. I don't care. Snowman on the wire line with Tecmo Bowl.
All right, Snow.
11-7 right now. We'll give you the we'll make the post. We'll give you how to vote. It'll obviously be a different emoji other than the like, because that's the easiest one. You have to actually choose. But this is gonna. I have a feeling this will go down to the wire. I don't think this will be a blowout like Augusta and the Rose Bowl was.
It's gonna go down to the wire.
Wire to wire. I like it. We got UFC 266. UFC 266 is actually a better card than I thought it was. It's funny because when we were talking pre-show, I was talking to Shally about, he's like, we got UFC this week. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm not really excited about this card. And I looked at the card, and I'm like, that's not a bad card.
No.
Not a bad card at all. It's definitely a card I'm going to watch. I won't this is not like the November 5th card, whatever that is, November 3rd.
No, I mean, I think it's a good card, as in, there's a lot of big names on it. I think minus the Diaz-Lawler fight, I mean, we know Sivtegna, we know where that's going. So that's just going to be, that might be a crime, actually, by the time that fight's over. It's not the November card, but I think it's a good card.
Why don't we start with Diaz-Lawler?
All right.
Who do you like? You said it's crime. Who do you like in the fight?
No, I said I think Shevchenko fight's going to be a crime.
Oh, okay.
Lauren Murphy's she might get murdered.
I've said that. Listen, I followed Lucky Lauren Murphy's entire career. From when she was on The Ultimate Fighter with Eddie on Team Alvarez, to before that. I've watched Lucky Lauren Murphy fight a ton. She's on a 5-fight winning streak, and they're feeding her to the wolves. She has 2 split decision wins.
Joanne Carterwood fight was to the.
She beat Joanne. No,
she did, but it was
Very
definitely a tight fight. Now she gets the. You know what's funny? Speaking of that, I'm
Nobody
just
wants
gonna.
to fight Shevchenko
I'm
right
just
now.
gonna piggyback off what you're gonna say, but she won that fight, and it's clear that she was the number one contender. Obviously, they made this fight. After that fight, she didn't call out Shevchenko. She wanted no parts of Valentina
calls
on
out
that.
Shevchenko.
She wanted no parts. So I think that's funny. You know, most people are like, yeah, I would love an opportunity for the belt. She stayed clear away from that after that fight. But go ahead. Continue.
I guess we'll start there. We started talking about it already. I'm sorry. I'm a Lucky Lauren Murphy fan. When I see her fighting like a fighter, I feel like she can break their will. I pick her. Calderwood was not that fighter, but I still picked her over Calderwood. I've gotten like every one of Lauren Murphy's fights correct, like the last 7 of them. And I'm sorry, minus 1,500 plus 850. There's no value in this fight at all.
No,
You can't bet it. Shevchenko's going to kill her.
I mean you're pretty much betting. I mean, you're gonna round bet or you're gonna bet how it ends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way you're
I
making
think
money.
Lauren Murphy will be tough enough to get to the second round. I think your bet would be Shevchenko by second round murder.
Second round murder.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll go first round murder.
I think that Lauren Murphy's tough enough to get to the second round. She's a tough girl, bro.
We'll find out.
I mean, give me Shevchenko first round TKO. I do think Murphy's tough, so I don't think she's gonna get completely knocked out, but I think ref's gonna come in and call that fight. Thing with Shevchenko too is that I didn't realize this. She trains with Brandon Moreno, the flyweight champion of the men's division. Like that's who she spars with.
Yep.
She is a different beast.
Yeah, I agree.
And only woman on this earth that can beat her in that cage is Amanda Nunes.
That's it.
It's the only one. So, give me Shevchenko first round TKO.
I'm not gonna watch it because I just don't want to watch a crime. So I'm gonna go to
I
like.
mean, you gotta watch it. You can't like turn the pay-per-view off.
Anytime Valentina's on, I'm locked in.
We'll be watching it.
All right, so let's talk about Nate Robbie.
Okay.
Nick
Robbie. I get the DS scumbags messed up.
I say they're both jerk offs. So I mean,
Both
it's fine.
scumbags.
2 brain cells between the two of them.
Guys, I don't. All right, so maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm way off the wall. I think Robbie Lawler's a zombie. I don't think he should be fighting anymore.
Correct.
You know, very similar to he's a favorite in this fight. I like Nick Diaz a lot.
Absolutely.
I think Nick Diaz fucks him up like pretty bad.
I
Like, if I'm
don't see
being
that.
honest.
I don't see that.
I don't know about all that,
I don't
but
either. We have no idea what Nick is either. So I mean,
Hasn't fought in 5 years.
Nick's head is not like as punch drunk as Robbie's is.
I mean, who takes more damage than the kid? I mean, Lawler's one of them, but the Diaz brothers are both right there. They take beatings every time they're in the cage.
It's true.
Was Nick's last fight Anderson Silva?
Nick's last fight was
Like
2016.
Yeah, I said like 5 years ago.
I think it was
He hasn't
Anderson
fought.
Silva. They both popped drug tests. I think Nick failed it for pot, and Anderson
Might have
failed it
been.
for something
Which
else.
doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm going Robbie. At the end of the day, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I don't think nobody knows what either one of these guys are going to look like. I'll take the knockout power. I think Robbie has just as much stamina as Nick does. They both can both take a beating. Robbie has more power, so I'll go with the one punch flash knockout. Maybe I'll go Robbie, and I just hate Diaz, so I'm not picking him.
I get it.
Yeah, Anderson Silva was his last fight in 2016. But the one thing too is that this fight just got moved up to 185. It just moved up today.
Probably because Nick can't make weight.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's exactly what it was. So Nick
He
isn't
doesn't care enough to make weight.
Nick isn't, in shape, clearly. I don't know why. Well, I guess I get why Lawler would do it. Lawler just probably wants the payday. But
Lawler's fought at both his whole career.
No. I get that, but
I think that's even a bigger advantage for Robbie, to be honest, knowing that now.
It's an advantage in the sense that you know that Nick's out of shape, so you probably
But Robbie's gonna be able to be bigger at that point. Then Robbie's gonna hit harder at 185 than he does 170.
That's true. I don't know. I'm on the same boat with Gene. I don't think, I think Robbie Lawler is completely a zombie. He hasn't won a fight since 2017. He's 1-5. Last win came against Cerrone in 2017, and he just hasn't looked good in any of his fights. Like, it's one thing to just lose, but it's another thing to get completely dominated every fight that you're in. So,
Yeah, Ben Askren beat him in the first round. Neil Magny beat him.
yeah.
Like, I'm not.
And until his defense, I don't want to. The Ben Askren win was definitely controversial, but even without it, I mean, I think Ben Askren still probably wins that fight. But in this one, I'm going with Nick. I think it's going to be a boring fight. It's going to be entertaining because it's Nick. You know, you're going to see he's going to do crazy things, probably flick him off and, you know, wipe his blood on him or something stupid because he's a Diaz brother. But I think it goes to decision, and Nick's going to pull it out.
So you have Lawler by knockout?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
think this gets the decision.
I don't think this fight finishes.
I say decision because I don't think Nick has the stamina to bang, really bang in the later rounds.
The funny thing is, I can't even bet. I couldn't even bet on Nick. Like, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. Nick's the type of fighter that could just jump out of the cage and be like, fuck this, I'm not doing it.
True.
Like, he's just nuts.
He is. Absolutely.
Like, I just think Lawler's dead. I think he's like Chuck Liddell getting in the ring. Tito Ortiz, like that type of mentality.
I don't think he's as bad as Chuck yet, but I know what you mean.
I'll take Diaz in the fight. Let's get into main event.
Volkanovski versus Ortega.
You got Brian Ortega going up against Volkanovski. It's funny because as soon as this fight got booked, I was instantly upset because this 1,000% should be the Holloway trilogy. And Holloway won that last fight against Volkanovski. I don't care who says otherwise. If you watch that fight, Holloway won it fair and square. He should be the featherweight champion of the world right now. Anywho, but just to break down this one, Ortega beat Korean Zombie last year, but outside of that, he really hasn't fought too much in the past 3 years. I think that Volkanovski's stand-up mixed with his jiu-jitsu, I think it's going to be a little bit too much. I think he's going to kind of overwhelm Ortega, although I do think Ortega is very talented. But I got Volkanovski winning this one by decision at the end of the fight, and we are going to finally get that trilogy fight with Max Holloway afterwards.
I don't think Max Holloway won the fight.
Oh, Max Holloway 100% won that fight.
I watched that fight. I don't.
He won.
I don't know what you watched.
He won rounds 1, 2, and 3. Don't know what to tell you.
First of all, don't ever expect to win a championship fight if you don't win 4 or 5. Let's just start there.
Hey,
let's just start there.
Well, no.
Hey, no, let's not start there. You win 3 rounds of a 5-round fight, you're supposed to be the champion.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter how you win him.
Volkanovski outstruck him for the entire fight. So, like
this isn't
it's not one. It's not total scoring.
I follow that, but my point is, you didn't win round 4 or 5. You got outstruck for the entire fight. If you watched the fight, I felt like Volkanovski won the war. I didn't walk away from that fight thinking.
But which one of the rounds? Which one of rounds?
The second round.
No way.
You are out of your mind. You are 1,000% out of your mind. He did not win the second round. If anything, you argue the third round.
Yeah, I would say the third was the closest one. And I definitely think Holloway won that round too. 2, I don't think was close.
He took him down in the second round.
Oh, yeah. If you want to argue takedown, he had 2 knockdowns.
Jesus.
I like Volkanovski in the fight versus Ortega. I like Volkanovski in the trilogy versus Holloway. Dante likes Ortega. I think Brian Ortega is a good fighter. He beat the Korean Zombie, lost to Max Holloway, beat Frankie Edgar. Like,
all that was so long ago though. Like, I don't think he's the same guy. I
think Volkanovski wins. I think Ortega. I think he hangs in this fight a lot longer than people think he's going to. I think he's a tough kid. I mean, this fight is pretty much his career at this point. I mean, if he doesn't win this, I don't know if he ever gets back. It's all or nothing for him here. Volkanovski, I think, is just way too polished. He's way too polished. He's just very well rounded. I mean, I don't think there's anywhere you could say Ortega can take that fight and he's going to be at an advantage. I'll go Volkanovski as well.
Ortega's advantage is jiu-jitsu.
I guess, but Volkanovski's not getting caught there either. I just don't see that.
I agree. I think Volkanovski wants to keep the fight.
No, I agree. I mean, it's a huge advantage for him to keep it standing. Ortega's not going to outstrike him or knock him out.
Well, it's a close fight on betting odds too, Dante. Dante Sam Turner's fight is a closer fight on paper. It's very close on betting odds on everybody. I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be a blowout.
Right.
No, I think Volkanovski just over the course of the fight is going to be the better fighter, and it'll show.
I agree.
I do think we get Holloway next. We get the trilogy, which will be awesome. That'll be early 2022.
Do you think Holloway won a fight too?
I do. 100% I do.
I honestly felt like you can give 2 and 3. Like, I'm not saying both, but at least one of them. And he definitely won 4 and 5, and he outstruck him for the fight. He took him down 3 times.
But he had give me 2 knockdowns over 3 takedowns every single day.
That's easy, man. I mean, you've seen people knock people down and get 10-8 rounds. You're not getting a 10-8 round by taking somebody down. Like, that's silly. It is.
So my 3 picks, just for the record, I like Shevchenko by murder. I like Nick Diaz by knockout. I think Robbie Lawler's a zombie. And I'll take Volkanovski by decision.
Volkanovski. I think he stops at round 4. Again, I think Ortega hangs in. I think it's a good fight. I'll go Volkanovski, stop at round 4. Shevchenko also by murder. And I got Robbie Lawler by knockout.
I got Diaz by decision. Shevchenko also by, we'll go manslaughter for Shevchenko. First round manslaughter.
Second degree?
And then Volkanovski decision. Unanimous decision.
Is Robbie Nick 5 rounds or 3?
I think it's only 3.
Oh. I was like, if that's 5 rounds and that goes to decision, that is going to be awful at the end. Awful.
Yeah, I think it's 3. It's not the co-main event intentionally.
Thank God. Yeah, I mean, because Diaz might not show up. Like, who knows?
Exactly. He might DQ. He might pop a drug test afterwards.
He might show up 190 and just be like,
Facts.
I'm not fighting.
Yeah. And then Dana will be like, I'll fight Dana. I'll fight him.
I can't stand any of those Diaz brothers.
I can't stand either one.
Okay. Let's get into the Ryder Cup.
Let's go.
So, Shally, break it down for us. I clearly know who I like, what side I like, but break it down for the listeners at home.
So, they're playing Whistling Straits, which is in Kohler, Wisconsin. It's held every pretty much major tournament throughout the world. It's a great course. It's on the coast. It's a links course. Weather has already been very chilly out there. So, that is the one thing that worries me a little bit with picking the U.S. If it is bad weather all weekend, it's windy and rainy, that is definitely going to favor the European team. They're just more used to playing in it. You play a links-style course over in Europe where all these kids grow up. They learn to play links golf. I think this is debatably the most talented U.S. team there's ever been.
Agreed.
And I mean that, and I mean that still with Tiger Woods not on the team. Even with the teams with Tiger and Phil in their prime, the team you have this year is better. You have Brooks, you have Bryson, you have Tony Finau, Spieth is back, JT. I mean, it's murderer's row. I'm leaning U.S. And again, that's a little bit weather dependent. I also look at this competition every 2 years and look at it on paper, and I always think the U.S. is better, and they always lose somehow. The Europeans are always the better team. I don't know if they're the better individual golfers, but you have guys on this team that for Europe that are just gamers. Ian Poulter, I don't care how bad he's playing. You put him in a Ryder Cup, he's going to go out and beat somebody.
Same with Rory.
Rory is almost unbeatable in the Ryder Cup. If you want to watch a crazy match, go watch Rory versus Patrick Reed from 4 years ago. It's one of the best single matches ever. And
then the leader.
But see, I think
John Rahm is going to be John Rahm. Rambo. And you got, like I said, you got Ian Poulter. Sergio Garcia is another one. He very rarely loses. They have a lot of younger guys this year, though, so it's going to be very curious to see how the veterans get them ready. It is a pretty much fully attended event, so I mean it's going to be hostile. So that you'll have that going for us. I think the U.S. wins. I don't. For some reason, everybody's saying they're going to win by like a point. I think it's kind of clinched halfway through singles on Sunday. I think we win by 3 or 4 points. I really do.
So how does it go? Teams?
So Friday morning you play scram. You play 2-ball. So you'll have 4 pairings go out for each one. You play best ball. It's pretty much what it is. Then in the afternoon you play alternate shot, and that is one of the ones that Europe for some reason always does better than us.
I think that we would have an advantage though with Bryson, though.
It was.
He crushes the drive.
Right, but if he hits it in the rough, that's where you have to play the ball from. So if you're paired with him and he hits the ball 30 yards off the fairway, that's where you have to hit your shot from.
Sure.
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Bryson does not play alternate shot for that reason. It's a huge risk reward. I'm starting to hear rumors that you might get Bryson and Brooks.
That'd be amazing.
I've said it from the get-go.
That'd be a great way to like.
If you really look at what both of them do well, they'd be a very, very hard pairing to beat. They're playing nice. I mean, you've seen it for the cameras. There's been like photo ops. Like you have them like Brooks going up and like talking to them on the driving range. I don't know how much of it's for show. I do truly believe deep down they don't like each other. I know Brooks doesn't like them. I do think they're going to be able to coexist for the weekend. If I was Stricker, I'm not. I shit you not. I would put him out there. I really would. I put him out there against like Rom, and Rom's probably going to play with Garcia. I would put him out there against her, see what happens.
That'd be amazing to
and
watch.
Be like, that's your number one pairing. I'm putting these two studs out there, and let's see what happens.
And that's not even our number one pairing.
No, it's gonna be our number one pairing this year is Spieth and JT.
Thomas.
Yeah. So, and maybe they go out there and click and start winning, and then then who knows? Like it's one of those things. I mean, if they go on a tear, they're both very good individually. They both hit the ball far, both very good wedge players, both good putters. It could be something they just catch fire and win. The U.S. team is deeper. Again, I mean, we're talking about like Finau's going to play like 6 or 7 singles. On paper, we are 100% the better team. It's a matter, again, if we can go out there and
something about these Europeans when they play for their country.
They do. They gel better. They embrace the team atmosphere better. And Brooks caught some slack for last week for saying it, but he's like on the PGA Tour, like these guys, like, and he said me included, is like I show up to a tournament with 7 people. Like I have my trainer, I have my cardio or my physio guy, my swing coach is here. When you go to a Ryder Cup, that's all gone. Like you're really just surrounded by your teammates and the coaches, and the Europeans embrace that way more. They embrace the team mentality of it, everything for country, not out here for yourself. And it shows. I mean, I agree. So I still think
I like the U.S. too.
I do like the U.S.
I think that the big difference is, it sounds so crazy because he's not Xander. I really think him coming as rookie in the Ryder Cup, coming off a great Olympic showing, I think Xander is the difference in this. I really do. I think he's going to have a great weekend. I like Xander and I like Scotty Scheffler. I really like both of them.
Again, that is just another example of how deep this team is. Those guys are going to play like when they send out singles on Sunday. The order will be a little bit different, but if you're ranking them like depth wise, they're 8th or 9th on this team. That's how good this team is.
I don't think Xander's that low. I mean, maybe Scotty Scheffler. I don't think Xander's that low.
Xander, I'll tell you literally in 1 second here. Xander is at number 7.
Well, that's going by ESPN rankings.
Yeah,
he said he hates those.
They're awful.
Yeah, they're bad.
Like if you're gonna play like a 1-on-1 match, like I think Brooks is 10.
Yeah, Brooks is 10.
Nobody is betting on Xander to win that match against Brooks. Like nobody.
And they'll probably have Dustin Johnson ahead of him on the United States.
Yeah, geez, I mean, we even see DJ. I mean, again, DJ, Spieth, JT, Brooks, Bryson.
I don't think they put Bryson over him.
Finau. Come on, stop, dude.
I don't. I think Xander just came off a gold medal.
Okay.
I don't think that many people are playing much better golf.
Hasn't won a major.
It's okay.
Choked one away, actually. I mean, he's very good. He's talented. I'm not against Xander Schauffele. But there's 6 or 7 guys for sure. If I'm coaching, I'm putting out there before him.
So clearly, I'm not as much of an expert as you two. But
I'm not an expert at all. I just studied a little bit and read a little bit.
My whole thinking behind this is I kept it pretty simple. European players play better in the conditions when they play better in worse conditions as opposed to what the American players do. Plus, Europeans have 2 guys that I 100% know I can trust. Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy.
Yep.
Those are the leaders. They've been there before. They know how to get it done. I'm gonna roll with the European team. I know they aren't as good. They aren't as deep as they say. But
dude, you're a commie.
Benedict Arnold.
Hey,
for real.
Hey, if it's right, then it's right. So, but I'm going with Europe on this one.
All right, we gotta get. You gotta be kidding me.
I don't have one.
Oh, what? Are you kidding
There's
me?
too many of them.
Bill.
Nobody really pissed me off this week.
Bill, that's unbelievable.
It's cold-hearted.
This is like 2 in the past 3 weeks.
I'll give 2.
I'll give 2 too.
There you
All
go.
right, we'll give 2.
Okay.
Control, start. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
See you guys next week.
All right, so my first one, Mike, you can hold off on the video. My first one is going to be Trey Turner from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Spit on the player, going up against the Raiders, and then he got ejected. So got it 1,000% be smarter than that. And, there's rumors going around that he started Pittsburgh's media saying that the other guy, spit on him first, blah, blah, blah. Hey, no, there's no video that is backing you up on this. And there's video everything. So, Trey Turner.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Like this day and age, like why are people spitting on each other?
Yeah, like why do Pittsburgh players do? Well, no, it was Myles Garrett did it. I'm like, it seems like there's always a game in Pittsburgh where something stupid happens and they're like, oh, something was said, and like it wasn't. I just feel like always Pittsburgh's involved. My first one, which I really wanted to use.
You still don't think anything was said that day?
Absolutely not.
Oof,
you don't think there was any? So we went this whole time and there's been no audio recorded. They record literally everything, and they haven't. They said, oh, there's no video, no mic, nothing.
I don't think Mason Rudolph said a racial slur to Myles Garrett.
Whether you think it's a racial slur, you don't think anything was said. You think it just swung at him.
Yeah, I said shit, but I don't think he said a racial slur. I think that was Myles Garrett talking shit. Just being honest.
I mean, he got a pile using sense, dude.
I really wanted to use this one, and then there was one that was just way better. So now I'm glad I get to use two. Nate McMillan was an Eagles pep rally. And if you don't remember Nate McMillan, he's an old Eagles cornerback, short guy, Mighty Mouse. He was at an Eagles pep rally, and everybody tries to get them to say, Mark McMillan, sorry. Everybody tries to get them to say the Eagles chant. So he's like trying to lead an Eagles chant. And he gets up there and he goes, E-A-L, Eagles. He misspells Eagles. Like, just completely forgot the G, then realized he forgot the G, and finished it in the middle of the chant while people were spelling out Eagles. So, for that, Mighty Mouse,
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Okay, now I got my real one. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, Mike, cue up the video. This is
Try to outdo me?
The more fun one.
Oh, God, this is great.
Conor McGregor was at Wrigley, throwing out the first pitch.
This is really bad.
And this was his attempt.
This is so funny. Well, it's almost like he aimed there.
I mean, that's where he was aimed. I mean, his shoulders are wide open.
That is
take your suit jacket off.
That's part
of the problem as well. He's in that damn suit jacket that's painted on because he wants to look big. So
that
1,000%
is rivaling 50 Cent's worst first pitch ever.
That's still better than 50 cents.
Is it?
50 cents was like it was like
but
3
I'm
miles
saying,
an hour. He used to do that hard.
It's rivaling it though. Look at
so
come
bad.
on, Connor. You're better. You're a world class athlete. You could get the ball closer than that. So this week, Conor McGregor.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Thank God he threw it hard.
All right, so mine is Dave Culley, the head coach of the Houston Texans. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't get a chance to watch this game.
I did.
Control did. The Browns are playing the Texans, and it's 3rd and 15. Davis Mills is in, and he throws a 13-yard completion, and it's 4th and 2. But the Browns were offsides. So you have an option. You can take the 13 yards, 4th and 2, and if you want to go for it, you can go for it at the Browns' 49-yard line. Or if you don't want to go for it, you can take the 5 yards and have a 3rd and 10. And take another shot at 3rd down, and if you get 13 yards again, you get a 1st down. Believe it or not, Dave Culley did neither one of these. Dave Culley took the yards and punted the ball. I don't know how you do that. I really don't know how you do that. He took the yards of the play and punted the ball, and then when it was asked about it, he goes, oh, field position. So they were punting from the Browns' 49-yard line, which any punter in the NFL can kick the ball through the end zone from the 49. They actually take like 5-yard penalties intentionally to give the punters more room to punt the ball. So like that was a terrible answer. And if you don't want to go for it on 4th down, you just take the 5 yards and you take a shot at 3rd and 10. And then what's the worst that happens? You throw an incomplete pass and you punt from 8 yards deeper. And if you're scared of your quarterback throwing an interception, run a draw play, run something, a screen. I don't know what the hell, but don't take 13 yards, decline a penalty, and punt the ball. It's got to be one of the worst coaching decisions ever. So he was asked about it Monday, and he goes, well, I kind of screwed up. I was really appreciative of his honesty, but you can't be an NFL head coach and make a decision like that. So for this week, Dave Culley.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Brought up a good point. Conor McGregor didn't have a good week. I mean, he got in a fight with Machine Gun Kelly at the VMAs too.
Oh God, why fight Machine Gun Kelly? I think Machine Gun Kelly. I think that's such a good thing for Machine Gun Kelly.
He's like 6'5", 125 pounds.
About that.
I love. Did you hear Dana White's comments about like he was calling out Jake Paul's calling out Jorge Masvidal? Did you hear this yet?
No.
Oh my! So Jake Paul was calling out Jorge Masvidal, like Jorge, come get this, like come fight me, like he wants to fight Jorge Masvidal. So Dana White goes, well, he's under contract with me, but I'll tell you what, Jake Paul ain't get the balls to call out Anderson Silva. Let him call out Anderson Silva. Jake Paul makes his whole living fighting fighters that are smaller than him, that are past their prime, or calling out people that are under contract he's not going to fight. He's not going to fight Jorge Masvidal, but you could bet your ass he won't call out Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's his size and can box, and Anderson Silva will beat his ass, is what Dana White said.
Who's he scheduled to fight next?
Who? Jake Paul. Nobody. That fight's scheduled.
Rumor has it he's retiring from the game.
He was trying to call out Jorge Masvidal.
I heard all that, and Jorge wants to fight him, but Dana's not going to let him fight under contract. So.
Absolutely not. And Dana won't cross promote with the Pauls because he doesn't want Jake Paul making any money.
Well, that and then
and also Dana doesn't want to pay anybody.
Is that Showtime pay-per-view too?
Yes.
Yeah, he ain't doing that. No way.
Any final thoughts on show 50? This is 50 shows in the books.
I think it's going to be a very good NFL weekend.
I'm excited to see my boy back. 13. 13. Can't wait.
It's how convenient you were brown with him.
He's a brown.
No, you're not getting my point.
Wow. Really? Jesus. Bro.
Any final thoughts, Shelly?
Not after that.
So, this is Wire2Wire, show 50. We're signing out.
Dookie.